Hello friends and welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're back. If you are new, hi, my name is Rabbit and my pronouns are they, them, and today's video is another one of my super cozy autumnal vlogs. This one's extra toasty warm. We're gonna do a little bit of baking, have a beautiful walk amongst the leaves to read and like have a little bit of rain, cozy spooky bath at the end, and get just like super snuggled up. Just truly enjoying the end of the season and all sorts of different things. So if that sounds like a good time to you, please keep on watching and I hope you enjoy. So I'm starting out this vlog in the kitchen, one of my favorite spots to be during the spooky season, and this is actually one of my favorite recipes to make during this time of year. It's also one of Cage's favorites, and it's basically these crescent moon-shaped almond flour cookies. They're absolutely delightful. I sort of think of them as little moon cakes that tend to factor in a lot during like Samhain and the Halloween season in general. So they feel like a very spiritually significant baked good. And though I wasn't doing anything especially spiritual with them today, I did want to just infuse them with a lot of love and goodwill for the little trip that we were going to take with these guys. As usual, I'll link the recipe below. I find that mixing it with my hands is extra helpful to get the texture correct, and once it's worked up enough that the pieces are sticking together in sort of large crumbs, I can go ahead and start to work the cookies into their little shape. I find the best way to do this is to sort of use my hands to roll them into a snake first and then turn that into a crescent moon, though I need to remember that the recipe I have for these uses a little bit too much flour and they work a little better with a bit extra butter or just less flour. Regardless, I'm slowly working my way through the whole batch of dough and getting them all nice and rolled out. I have the oven preheated. They look very rustic, but I think that's one of the charms of them. And once all of the cookies are on the two sheets, I can go ahead and pop them in the oven. I had made way more than I expected to with this batch, and I always forget that this recipe just makes so many cookies. So I ended up doing a little experiment with them later where I used them to make a crust for a mini s'mores pie. And though I didn't film that, it turned out pretty delicious. The day that I was filming this, I had just gotten off work in the morning and I just had this giant itch to bake and then spend some time being cozy in the outdoors because it really felt like the autumn was coming a little bit to its close. The days had been more and more overcast and more rainy lately, which I do love, but has kind of this double-edged sword because I live in Canada and that means that the snow is coming soon. So I just wanted to take some time to enjoy some sweet treats with Cage in the park before the snow prevented us from having that anymore. And there they are, my beautiful little creation. I absolutely love these. They're so freaking tasty. Very crumbly, but really, really good. And since I wanted to pack them up for a little picnic kind of adventure, I decided to put them in a very sweet paper candy corn decorated bag, and in they go one by one very carefully. And I did also line the bag with some parchment paper beforehand so any of the grease wouldn't like seep through, but I get the bag nice and filled up, roll it up tight so they're safe and secure, and for an extra little bit of Halloween cheer, I wanted to add a little jack-o'-lantern sticker, so that is keeping it safe. And while I love sweets, I am much more of a salty person, so I had stopped by the grocery store after work to pick up one of my and Cage's favorite snacks, which are these little gold stars. They're made of a bunch of vegetables, they're vegan, gluten-free, and delicious. So I just packed them into a cute little cellophane Halloween bag and tied them with a black ribbon for a little bit of extra festive cheer. Obviously this step is optional, but it just made things a little bit extra cute. So our provisions were packed up and ready to go in their adorable bags. It was time now to get out my picnic basket and all of the books that we needed for this trip. So first I have Free Country, which I got from the library, but I also wanted to bring some comic books since it was a little bit rainy and I didn't want to mess up my library book in the rain. And then Cage brought his book, which was recently purchased at a local bookstore. I had gotten this delicious apple cider from the grocery store, and then it was just time to add my little snacks. You can see Lemon snoozing in the background. And there was our little picnic basket ready to go. All we needed was our blanket, and we were all set. Hello friends, it is October 11th, I think, when I'm filming this today, and I went to work this morning. It was super chill, and last night I baked some cookies because I wanted to have like a nice little like reading day in the park and like be in the leaves and all that, because like last year Cage and I had like a really nice day where like he had to draw and I just got to like read a bunch of comic books and like watch all the leaves fall, and it was just like super special, and I wanted to do something again like that this year, but it's stupid rainy outside. But I've already packed my picnic basket and everything. Cage is on honestly like feeling like kind of like dizzy right now, so I don't know if he's even gonna want to come. It might just be like a solo trip, but I figure either way I'm all dressed up, so I'll show you my outfit. Might take a little walk around the park even though it's like very chilly and like the rain is out. I'm gonna put on like an extra jacket and a scarf, and like even if I don't stay to read, I can just like walk around, enjoy the leaves, and then come back here and enjoy my book in the warm covers, and hopefully it'll start raining again and I'll be able to like listen to the rain and like have lemon and tuna and like just read, and it'll be nice and chill. So without further ado, let's get into my outfit. It's very like, you'll see the bottom, but it's very like party 80s, over the top, completely just like a little bit Halloween explosion. So I really hope that Cage does feel well enough to come with me, because I kind of hate wearing like really loud outfits in public without him. It just like helps being with a person. But regardless, I've got my little pumpkin hair clips that I just made out of those like foam dollar store pumpkins and stuck them on hair clips. Got my candy corn earrings and my matching candy corn necklace, which I show how to make in a tutorial. Which I'll link somewhere and in the description and whatever. This little shirt that I'm wearing underneath is actually not a full shirt. It's just like a little collar that I cut off another shirt. So, yes, exciting secrets are happening down there. What? And then I've just got like a long sleeve warm black t-shirt underneath. For my sweater over top of that, this is the sweater that I got off of Etsy. It just had the cat print. I added all of the patches on it because I spilled stuff on it last year. And then for skirt and foot and leg wear, let's get into that. So this skirt that I have is from the thrift store, or that's where I got it, but the original owner found it at H&M is the brand that is on the thing. And I like it because it has these little, sorry, I'm totally wearing shorts underneath this, but it has these little like bat faces that are very silly. And then it has a spider web overlay on that, which is super fun. I'm wearing my new orange and black tights, and then I got leg warmers because it is very chilly out, and then my trusty Doc Martens. Gonna get my picnic basket packed up. Just need to like heat up my apple cider, I think, and I'll be on my way. And whether I read in the park or here, we shall see. Okay, let's get going. I had originally packed up my apple cider as is, but given how chilly it was outside, I decided to transfer it to this glass jar and add some warm kind of mulling spices. I had some cinnamon on hand as well as some cloves. I would have added star anise if I had it, but unfortunately not yet. I will try to add it to the spice cabinet, at least for next year. And now that we were fully provisioned, it was off to the park we went. As you can see, it was incredibly beautifully overcast, and there were so many seagulls in the park, like more than I had seen in a really long time. We did a lot of exploring around all the beautiful trees until we found the perfect one to sit at. There were so many yellow leaves falling around us, the sound of the crows, the sounds of the seagulls, all the benches, many choices, but we did eventually settle on one spot that had the perfect mix of fallen leaves, sturdy trees to lean up against, a giant canopy to keep us warm from the cold, and enough isolation from the streets that it was very easy to feel peaceful. Though, to be fair, given the weather and how chilly it was out that day, we were kind of one of the very few people in this enormous park. The local nature around us was withering away, and it just releases the most incredible smell, in my opinion, at that time of year. It was really wonderful, in my opinion, to feel the dampness in the air while we had our warm scarves on and our toasty drinks. This is the tree area that we set up at. It was 4 trees all together with our lovely giant blanket, all the birds in the background, and our books in the trees to keep us company. All of the treats were incredibly tasty, and I feel like there's just something that is extra satisfying about drinking something warm when you are very cold outside. I kind of missed that last year our autumn was so mild, and at this time of year we were having still like a ton of sunshine, and it felt like we could just like visit the falling leaves forever. This year, it did feel like that it went by really quick. At this point, as I record the voiceover, most of the leaves are completely fallen off the trees, and even in this vlog, I can kind of see the beginning of the end of the autumn season. But it was an incredibly special time while it lasted, and I love soaking in every moment from like the first beginning to wilt yellow leaf to when they're all completely off the ground. Anyway, reading together is one of Cage and I's favorite things to do, whether it's like completely solo or out loud to each other. It's really delightful to just check in and be like, oh, so what's happening in your story and what's happening in yours? And I love to show him my favorite illustrations since we both like Buffy, and he's been reading all these very interesting magic-y, witchy books lately, and I think he's really enjoying that. There was just like that tiny amount of rain, you know, when it's like just barely spitting a little bit, but if you're under enough of a tree, it's completely safe and protected. Yeah, we did do a little bit of exploring around the park, but we only stayed out a couple of hours until it was time to head in and warm up for a much needed and delightful toasty night in. So let's get into that. When I got back inside, I got myself out one of my favorite cups. It's like this silver claw martini glass that I got last year and I adore it. I added some of that apple cider and a bit of gold glitter so I could feel like I was drinking some enchanted magical fairy beverage instead of just, you know, apple juice. But hey, look at it in that cup. It feels magic. My bones were still a little bit chilly from all of that time in the cold and the damp, so I started running some hot water in the bath. I had recently gotten this black sparkly rose bath bomb from Lush, and I decided to pair it with some mini rose petals that I had gotten back in Vancouver, I think. It was my first time using this bath bomb, and the smell was absolutely enchanting. It was like black roses and lemons with the little sparkles. Absolutely incredible. I also wanted to try out this sheet mask that I got from Lush. It was called Pumpkin and will yield some very interesting results. Now that I had my drink, my bath bomb, and my mask ready to go, it was time to just run the water, light a couple of candles, and settle in for the night. I remember when I had first purchased this bath bomb, I was expecting to feel very like romantic and mysterious and like a little bit sensual, but there was a lot of purple and dark green in the water, which made it the absolute perfect spooky Halloween delight. And more than like some sort of sensual rose goddess, I found myself feeling like a giant squid or a kraken. I felt like a massive octopus swirling in these black inky waters. And when I turned the lights down low and had the candlelight reflecting off the walls and the little rose petals floating around, I don't know, there was something about feeling like a giant kraken at the sea with all these little boats swirling around me and like the moonlit sky. I'm probably taking this way too seriously, but I had an amazing time with it. Highly recommend bath bombs. Then it was time for a little bit of skincare, so I got my little pumpkin sheet mask out, and as you can see, it's very gelatinous and weirdly thick for a sheet mask. I'd never felt a sheet mask that thick. But it made me feel a little bit like Bubba Sawyer from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but also a little bit like I had just a Kraft single on my face. Anyway, it was very hydrating, smelled nice, and overall would recommend. And then it was just time to relax, put on a little bit of music, and just feel the steam and all of the anxieties melt away. Autumn is one of my absolute favorite seasons, and it feels so magical, and there's so much that I want to do every single year that sometimes it can feel difficult for me to remember to just take a moment to sit back and relax and actually enjoy the moments instead of trying to rush through them and check everything off a list, because there's so many beautiful experiences that I want to have that there's a little bit of fear that I'll miss them if I don't plan everything out to the exact moment and second. But sometimes when you're so focused on planning things out to the moment and second, you can miss some of the beauty that is happening. So taking a bath for me was just a really important reminder for myself to just slow down, really just smell the incredible smells, take in the beautiful visuals, really engage all of my senses with like the warmth and like my cold drink and like the little flickering candlelight. It's so important to be kind to ourselves, and when we're doing things for fun, at least for me, I have to remember, like, this is for fun. Like, you're doing this because you enjoy it. You're allowed to slow down. There will be many autumns to come, and every one of them will look a little bit different, and that's truly the magic of it. Anyway, my bath was done, my skin was moisturized and smelled amazing. It was time to light a little candle in my bedroom and get all toasty warm, my clean sheets and my stuffed animals surrounding me, as well as, of course, the best company in the world. I had Lemon by my side. In the bedroom, I turned off all the lights except for this little reading lamp and the fairy lights, and I just got in and snuggled under my giant Halloween blanket to go ahead and get to read my Neil Gaiman comic book. I got all cozied up in my jack-o'-lantern top and my glow-in-the-dark skeleton pant pajamas, as well as, of course, my super toasty cozy socks. And then it was time to just sit down,
snuggle up in the softest blankets ever and just enjoy a little bit of nighttime reading. I had gotten this book from the library, and it's by Neil Gaiman and a couple of other artists, and it's a graphic novel. It's called Free Country, The Children's Crusade, I think something along those lines, and it was an incredibly haunting and beautiful story. The main characters in the stories are two best friends who are detectives, but they're both dead. One died back in the 1500s, I think, and one a little more recently, so they have a little bit of vintagey mannerisms, and you just get to follow these two ghost children as they collect and save these other kind of mystical fairy children. It was a really good story, and the art was incredible. As usual, Neil Gaiman's writing is really, really special to me, and since I had never read this story before, it was an incredible new one to add to the repertoire. Sitting there with the flickering candlelight, the soft blankets, and all the just gorgeous golden light, it just made me feel so lucky to be able to experience this season every year, to make this time for this coziness. I love the autumn, and I romanticize it so much, and I wish I could bring myself to feel that way about the rest of the year, and I think that's a good goal for me, to maybe try to feel as happy in the other seasons as I do in the fall. As I record this voiceover, it's October 24th, and it's snowing outside, which breaks my heart. And in times like this, it's important to just be grateful for the time that I did have, and know that I can access this autumnal feeling in all sorts of different ways. Even when the leaves aren't turning gold and falling off the trees, even when they're not crunching underfoot, and the squirrels are collecting all their nuts to burrow away for the winter, it's important that this kind of feeling, this coziness, this happiness, I can feel it at any time. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I really appreciate you watching till the end. I hope you're having a nice autumn, or whenever this video comes out, I hope you're having a good one. And give yourself a big hug from me. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.